I am meteorologist Tony Petrarca on the Pinpoint 12 Forecast Center. You clicked on the Weather Now link as we take a look at the latest now Hurricane Isaias with winds now up to 85 miles per hour. We're taping this as of 9:30 in the evening. A storm now making landfall on the North Carolina, South Carolina coastline as a Category 1 storm. And there's the latest from the National Hurricane Center. You're looking at winds now that are up to 85 miles per hour. Storm is moving north at 18, and there are the coordinates, and this will continue to track kind of a northeastward trajectory over the next roughly 24 to 36 hours. And here's the forecast track, and this is by 2 o'clock Tuesday afternoon. It's already on the mid-Atlantic coast in New Jersey, making its closest pass to southern New England as a tropical storm, a weakening tropical storm Tuesday evening. A couple of hundred miles to the west of southeastern New England, so it's certainly not a direct hit, but it is close enough to have some impact here, specifically in the late afternoon and early evening hours of Tuesday. With that track, the heaviest rainfall is going to be kept along and to the left of the track, so while we do anticipate some scattered downpours, some thunderstorms, and perhaps even a couple of inches of rain, at least here in southeastern New England, clearly the heaviest of the rainfall, and you can see it by this strip of yellow and orange right in here. You know, it could be up to a half a foot of rain, so this is where you would tend to see some widespread flash flooding. I mean, here in southeastern New England, again, 1 to 2 inches and some downpours, especially during the afternoon and into the early evening hours. Also, the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms on Tuesday afternoon. Now, the concern here is that some storms may have some rotation, so the possibility does exist for an isolated brief tornado in some strong thunderstorms in the late afternoon and early evening hours. The chance is small, the chance is slight, but it is there by late day and into the early evening. Of course, along the south coast, the surf will be building over the next couple of days. High risk of rip currents both tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Even though Wednesday is a dry, sunny, actually a nice beach day, the strong rips are going to continue. So stay off the rocks and the jetties. We're not expecting any kind of a big storm surge or serious coastal flooding. There may be some minor coastal flooding at the time of high tide on Tuesday evening. But as of now, we don't have any coastal flood warning. That's been reserved for coastal Connecticut, the area in red. That's not to say that we may not have a coastal flood warning issued for our waters, but for now, as of 9:30 tonight, we don't. We think that any coastal flooding would tend to be minor, but it is something that we'll keep an eye on. So as far as storm impacts, heavy rain, I would say likely, but we're calling it low because we just don't think it's going to be widespread. So yeah, there'll be some scattered downpours on Tuesday afternoon, but as far as a widespread, nonstop soaking rain, we don't see that. Damaging wind gusts, we're thinking anywhere on the order of 40 to 50, 55 miles per hour. That could create some isolated wind damage and some isolated power outages. As mentioned, the coastal flood threat is minor, but some minor coastal flooding, big waves and some rip currents. And then the isolated tornado risk in the late afternoon and early evening is there. It is low, but it needs to be monitored as storms may have some rotation. So here's the situation on the satellite and radar composite. Even though the storm itself is down towards South Carolina, already getting some moisture well in advance of it. In fact, even some thunderstorms in New York City tonight. So it could get a couple of isolated showers during the overnight. And there's the center of the storm now spinning towards the North Carolina, South Carolina coastline. But all this moisture in advance of it will arrive actually as early as Tuesday morning. So let's take it into the future, starting off this evening. And then here we are, the storm at noontime is over the mid-Atlantic, heavy rain and strong wind in that location. I don't really see much in the way of wind during a Tuesday morning at least. You can see we'll get some scattered showers in here every now and then during the morning hours. But then things really start to ramp up during the late afternoon and early evening. You can see right in here. This is what we call a feeder band, this narrow line of thunderstorms right in here. This is around 6 o'clock in the evening. And this is where some of our strongest winds will occur between roughly 5 and 9 o'clock on Tuesday evening. Then the storm racing up into upstate New York and northern New England later on Tuesday night. So we're getting real close. I'm going to walk you through it again, hours, and we'll take you through the overnight. Here we are on Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. Now keep in mind that the wind speeds that we're showing here represents sustained winds, not gusts, but rather sustained wind. it's fairly quiet at 6 a.m. And then late morning, early afternoon, a few scattered showers. I don't think anything too serious as far as wind and thunder. Then notice we start to draw our attention to around 5 o'clock. So looking at some strong thunderstorms right in here. And that's that what we call that feeder band coming in off the ocean. You see these purples in here. Could be some damaging wind gusts and even some rotation. Here we are, 6 o'clock in the evening, and we're still looking at the possibility of some of these thunderstorms, these deep purples right in here, having some rotation, maybe an isolated tornado, some wind damage. That's 6 o'clock in the evening. Here we are at 8 o'clock Tuesday evening, still some of these storms passing through. And then take note right here, this is not a gust, this is a sustained wind, south-southeast at 40 miles per hour at 8 o'clock in the evening. And these wind speeds will be dropping off later on Tuesday night. So for Tuesday morning, I think it's somewhat manageable in terms of wind and rain, some scattered showers, and then it really starts to go downhill during the late afternoon and early evening, the wind picking up, and some of these thunderstorms between roughly 5 and 9 o'clock in the evening strong. That's when some of your strongest wind gusts will be realized. So, wrapping it up, we're not getting a direct hit from a full-fledged hurricane, but rather some impacts from a weakening tropical storm, but still some high impacts nonetheless. I think the worst of the weather in terms of rain, wind, and thunder would be during the late afternoon and early evening hours of Tuesday. A slight chance of an isolated tornado in some locations. It's not often we say that, but the chance is there, albeit slight. Some strong wind gusts, strong meaning 40 to 50, 55 miles per hour. That may cause some isolated wind damage and some power outages. It's a quick-moving system, so by later tomorrow night, it's gone, and we're back to dry weather and some sunshine coming up on Wednesday. All right, that's your latest Weather Now update. Thanks for logging in. We'll talk to you soon.